Hello, my name is Hillary Kimball, and this is Stargirl Chapter 10, and that loser, Mr. Daniels, is going to read it to you. So, why don't you go ahead and get started, Mr. Daniels? Really, Hillary? That's the introduction I get? Yeah, I mean, honestly, get out of here. So, honestly, go. Why don't you go drop a rat off a balcony there? Oh, yeah, fine, I will. I don't like that rat anyway, and why don't you just go ahead and start reading? You know what? I will. Yeah. Go ahead and Stargirl rat. Yeah, hide your rat right now, please. Thank you. Cinnamon, go run away. Take cover, Cinnamon. Okay. Chapter 10 of Stargirl. Let's read. All my resistance to putting Stargirl on hot seat vanished. Okay, I said to Kevin, let's do it. Schedule her. He started off. I grabbed his arm. Wait, ask her first. He laughed. Right, like she's gonna say no? No one had ever said no to the hot seat. Any reluctance to answering personal or embarrassing questions always yielded to the lure of appearing on TV. If anyone could resist that lure, I figured it would be Stargirl. The day after school, Kevin came up to me and gave me a thumbs up and grinning. It's a go! She said yes! First, I was surprised. This didn't fit my impression of her. I didn't know it was an early glimpse of something I was soon to see much more of. Behind the dazzling talents and differences, she was far more normal than I realized. Then I was elated. We yipped. We high-fived. We saw visions of our most popular show ever. This was mid-January. We set up a date of February 13th, the day before Valentine's. We wanted a full month for build-up. With my resistance now gone, I jumped in with both feet. We planned a promo campaign. We got art students to do posters. We jotted down questions for Kevin to ask in case the jury ran out. Fat chance of that happening. We didn't have to post the usual jury notice. Dozens of kids volunteered. And then things changed again. In the courtyard of our school stood a 5-foot sheet of plywood in the shape of a roadrunner. It was a bulletin board, strictly for student use, always taped, always tacked with messages and announcements. One day we found the following computer printout taped to the plywood roadrunner. I pledge allegiance to the United Turtles of America and to the fruit bars of Borneo, one planet in the Milky Way, incredible with justice and black bean burritos for all. Handwritten across the bottom were the words, "This is how she says the Pledge of Allegiance." No one had to tell us who she was. Apparently, she was overheard in her homeroom as we said the pledge each morning. Now, as far as I knew, we were not a particularly patriotic bunch. I didn't hear people saying that they were offended. Some thought it was funny, some giggled and nodded knowingly as if to say, there she goes again. On the following mornings, more than one kid was heard reciting the new pledge. Within days, a news story wildfired through the student body. A senior girl, Anna Grisdale, lost her grandfather after a long illness. The funeral took place on a Saturday morning. For a while, everything seemed routine. The crowd of people at the church, the line of cars with their headlights on, the smaller group clustered around the grave for the final farewell. After the brief graveside service, the funeral director handed everyone a long stem flower. Upon leaving, each mourner laid his or her flower over the casket. This was when Anna Grisdale first noticed Stargirl. Through her own tears, Anna could see that Stargirl was crying also. She wondered if Stargirl had even been at the church as well. Even more, she wondered why Stargirl was there at all. Could she have been friends with her grandfather without Anna's knowing it? Anna's mother asked her who the unfamiliar girl was. Afterward, the mourners were invited to Anna's house for lunch. About 30 came. There was a buffet of cold cuts and salads and cookies. Stargirl was there, chatting with the members of the family, but not eating or drinking anything. Suddenly, Anna heard her mother's voice. It was no louder than the others, but it was different. "What are you doing here?" Sudden stillness. Everyone staring. They were in front of the picture window. Anna had never seen her mother so angry. Mrs. Grisdale had been very close to her father. They had built an addition to their house so he could live with them. She glared down at Stargirl. "Answer me!" Stargirl gave no reply. "You didn't even know him, did you?" Stargirl still said nothing. "Did you?" And then Anna's mother was flinging open the front door and pointing as if banishing her to the desert. "Leave my house!" Stargirl left. Danny Pike was 9 years old. He loved to ride the bicycle he had gotten for his birthday. One day, after school, he lost control and plowed into a mailbox. Broke his leg, but that wasn't the worst of it. A blood clot developed. He was airlifted to the Children's Hospital in Phoenix, where he was operated on. For a while it was touch and go, but within a week he was on his way back home. All this was reported to the Micah Times, as was the celebration when Danny arrived home on Pinion Lane. The 5-column photo in the Times showed Danny on his father's shoulders, surrounded by a mob of neighbors. In the foreground was a new bike and a big sign that read, "Welcome home, Danny." It wasn't until days later that the front page photo appeared in the Plywood Roadrunner. We gathered around to see something we haven't noticed before. An arrow from a thick red felt-tip marker pointed at one of the tiny faces crowded into the frame. It was the face of a girl, beaming as if Danny Pike were her little brother back from the dead. It was Stargirl. And then there was the bike. The various members of the Pike family, parents, grandparents, etc., everyone, all thought that someone else had bought Danny a new bicycle. Several days went by before they had discovered, to their great surprise, that none of them had. So where did the bike come from? High schoolers who heard the story saw the picture had a pretty good idea. Apparently, the Pikes did not. The bike became the focus of a family squabble. Mr. Pike was mad because nobody he asked would admit to buying the bike, and probably because he hadn't done it himself. Mrs. Pike was mad because no way, not for at least 1 year, would she allow Danny back on wheels. One night, the new, still unridden bike wound up at the Pike's front curb with the trash cans. By the time the trash collector came the next day, it was gone. Danny got a BB gun instead. The Pledge of Allegiance, the Grisdale funeral, the Danny Pike affair. These things were noted, but they had no immediate impact on Stargirl's popularity at school. Not so with cheerleading and the boys' basketball season. All right, what do you guys think of Chapter 10? First of all, which one of those 3 events that Stargirl obviously did? Obviously, she got the bike for the kid. Way to go, Danny. Stargirl gave him the bike. Okay, the Grisdale funeral, showing up at a random funeral of someone that you don't even know, is that weird? I don't know. That's kind of up for you to decide. And what was the third one? How about the Pledge of Allegiance? Do you find any of those inappropriate, disrespectful, or do you think that's just Stargirl being Stargirl? If someone in your class said the Pledge of Allegiance that way, how would you feel about that person? Would you think that they were being unpatriotic? Or would you think that they were just being unique and different? That's an interesting question. Think about that. Discuss it with your classes. That's a wonderful thought there as we finish Chapter 10 and move into Chapter 11. All I'm hoping is that silly Hillary Kimball doesn't introduce Chapter 11 for me. Maybe we'll find somebody else. Maybe we can find Danny Pike. Maybe Danny would do it for me. Or Cinnamon, the rat. Hey, that's it for Chapter 10. Let's move on to Chapter 11. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.